Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. How's that sound?
Okay.
Saturday, September the 12th, National Video Games Day, National Chocolate Milkshake Day, National Day of Encouragement, National Report Medicare Fraud Day, and National Programmers Day. The 13th of September, Sunday, National Take Kids Over the Kitchen Day. National Kids Take Over the Kitchen Day.
Okay, I was going to say.
That makes more sense.
All right.
National Peanut Day, Uncle Sam Day, National Celiac Disease Awareness Day, National Bald is Beautiful Day, National Pet Memorial Day, National Hug Your Hound Day, and National Grandparents Day. I can't believe that Grandparents Day is here. I remember just last year we did some fun stuff for Grandparents Day, so that's a cool thing to do. And for those of you who like these national days, all these cool things, we are going to talk to the keeper of the calendar today. That is who my guest is, Marlo Anderson from NationalDayCalendar.com. It's where I get all of these. And I share these things all the time, and it's in our show notes. Anyway, he had noticed all this traffic coming from JohnandHeidiShow.com.
Okay.
And then he reached out. He's like, hey, that's really cool that you share those, and you actually put a link to my page. I was like, that's neat. So he and I were chatting. I was like, I'd like to do an interview just because how did you become the boss on this? It's a fun story, so I'm excited to chat with him coming up in a bit.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. The new way is with a continuous glucose monitor. You simply apply a discreet, easy-to-use sensor on your body. If you test your blood sugar at least 4 times per day and inject insulin at least 3 times per day or use an insulin pump and have private insurance or Medicare, you might be eligible for a CGM with little or no cost to you. Call now and say goodbye to finger pricks.
800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A new survey found that half of New Yorkers think the city is headed in the wrong direction. So does that also mean that half of New Yorkers think it's headed in the right direction? I'm not sure. Or it just means that only half...
I find that really hard to believe.
I don't know. So anyway, half of New Yorkers that responded to the survey anyway said the city of New York is headed in the wrong direction. I've got a link to that study if you want to read all the details. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. If you have a credit card, our friends at BetterCreditCards.com would like to make sure it's the best credit card for you. Take a few minutes to look at your current interest rate and then see what you get for points and perks. Then go to BetterCreditCards.com to see if they can help you find a better credit card. This will literally cost you nothing, and it could help you save money by getting a better credit card. Even if you don't have a credit card right now, you can check it out too at BetterCreditCards.com. That's BetterCreditCards.com. This is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by Time4Rehab.com. A 19-year-old Floridian is arrested after she pulled her pants down and urinated in front of a police car.
Oh, that's super classy.
To make matters worse, on her way to jail, she offered to do a little favor, wink, wink, for the officer if he would just give her a Juul e-cigarette. Madison Ann Bryant, keep in mind, she's 19, by the way.
Wow.
Charged with disorderly intoxication, a misdemeanor, offering to bribe a public servant, a felony. She was released that evening after posting a $3,000 bond. Holy cow. She's 19. Where'd she get $3,000? Police say that while her 22-year-old boyfriend was getting busted for drunk driving, she pulled her pants down and urinated in front of the squad car. And then afterward,
classy.
when she was arrested for disorderly intoxication, offered to perform a little act on the officer if he would just give her a cigarette, and he refused, by the way. Thank goodness.
Good thing.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. It's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Activists are calling for a boycott of Disney's live-action Mulan remake. They're citing a social media post from the lead actress in support of Hong Kong police. So saying, hey, she likes the police in Hong Kong, boycott this movie. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I think it's doing well. So I don't think the boycott's going well. Actor Bradley Cooper recently took a shot at the Oscars, saying the award show season is now, quote, meaningless and, quote, devoid of artistic creation, end quote.
Agreed.
So here's the thing that's interesting. It was less than a year. It was February. You and I had a chance. We went to a little trip to Los Angeles right before the pandemic, right before everything started happening. Took a trip there, went to a concert, and we met a guy who works for the Oscars. And before any of this pandemic stuff happened, we asked what they were going to do. And he was kind of not knowing for sure. They're like, I don't know. We lowest ratings ever had in 2020, by the way. That's before the pandemic.
Pretty bad.
So I really do wonder what they're going to do now. So I don't know. Anyway, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
If you take Viagra or Cialis, call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Call 800-214-7977. 800-214-7977. 800-214-7977. Again, that's 800-214-7977.
Now your scoop of the day. It comes your way courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Britney Spears says her conservator arrangement was voluntary and that she wanted someone else to control her finances. I can understand that.
So then what is all the hubbubbery about?
I don't know. I think it's just so you could say hubbubbery, but I'm not really sure. Kanye West told Nick Cannon's podcast that God made him storm the stage and interrupt Taylor Swift at the MTV VMAs way back. Remember that when that happened? He said God made him do it.
Okay, I don't think God really gets involved in those kinds of things.
Speaking of Mr. West, Kanye said that he spent $50 million on his Sunday services in the year 2019. $50 million.
Okay.
They must have had really good communion. I'm just saying, I'm not sure what we'd spend $50 million on. Video of two women getting into a wild fist fight at New York's LaGuardia Airport has gone viral. And I can understand when we traveled not too long ago, tensions are high and all of that stuff. But still, getting in a fist fight, not the answer. I'm just saying. So if you thought that was going to fix something, guarantee it didn't. And
no, it's just going to slow you down.
Now you're both famous for, getting in a fist fight in an airport. Burning Man, that's a big event that happens every year. It is now going to be an online event in this year
fun.
For 2020. I don't know exactly how you do Burning Man online, but I guess it'll be interesting. Elon Musk announced that he plans to build a, quote, glorious Martian city by the year 2050. For those of you keeping track, that's 30 years from now. So between now and 30 years from now, Elon Musk says he will have a glorious Martian city. He's going to build a city.
How old is he now? Is he even still going to be around then?
Yeah, he's not that old. I think he's like, I don't know, in his 40s, maybe 50s. He's not an old man by any means.
Okay.
Fraudulent puppy, that's only 30 years from now.
30 years.
Well, 30 years. If he's 50, he's be in his 80s. So, yeah, he'll still be around. Fraudulent puppy sales are becoming one of the biggest scams on the internet during lockdown. People say they go online and they buy dogs off websites and then they never get the dogs. Well, maybe you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, don't go buy
Shouldn't do
dogs
that.
on a website.
No, don't do that.
You've got local shelters, I guarantee you, very close to you.
Absolutely.
Where there are lots of dogs waiting
They would
to be
love
loved.
to have you adopt them. Fire officials have announced that a smoke generating pyrotechnic device is what caused one of the wildfires. There's 23 major fires burning in California. One of them was because of a gender reveal party.
Yeah.
Not good. Research shows that high-fat diets can change your brain, making you want to eat even more. I think I could have been a study participant there.
I'm almost positive that's accurate.
And a study out of New Zealand says men look at naked women's breasts or midriff before they look at her face. About half of men in a study, 47%, first noticed her breasts. It says 1 in 3 looked at the midriff. Less than 20% looked at the naked woman's face first. So,
well, if they're naked, of course you're not going to look
think
at the face first. That's
well,
ridiculous.
I don't know. Well, according to the study, 1/3 did. I was not a part of the study. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Nobody wants to buy car insurance. It's not a fun thing to think about, but it's something you need if you want to drive your car. So even if you don't want to buy insurance, you probably have to get it from someone. So why not buy it from InsuranceChicken.com? Okay, I'll admit, our website name is dumb. InsuranceChicken.com. Yeah, our marketing department is not that great. But our selection of insurance options is amazing. See if we can save you money each month on our dumb website, InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a guest joining us today from NationalDayCalendar.com, Marlo Anderson. Marlo, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Now, it's funny because we had never really met before, but I feel like I know you because I'm on your website every single day. Every day is a special day if you look hard enough, and it's amazing to me. Some days, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, there are times where it takes us a minute to get through everything, and then there's other days where it's like one thing. Is there any day during the year where there's nothing going on?
So every day is full. There are actually about 1,500 national days that we keep track of right now. And you know, one of the reasons why you run into that occasionally is that a lot of the days are like the third Wednesday of the month or what have you, right? And then there are some that are what we call static days, which are on, you know, July 17th or what have you, right? So sometimes you get this mashup where you'll end up with, you know, like you said, 8 or 10 national days on one day, and then the very next day there's only one, and it's because of kind of that scenario. Every year is different because of that.
So how in the world did you get started with NationalDayCalendar.com? Where did this concept come from, and how in the world did you just say, I'm doing this?
Well, it kind of started just over 7 years ago. I think most people are surprised when I say that because it really isn't that old of a venture. And I was looking for why there was National Popcorn Day. And I'm a web developer, been in technology since the 80s, and I'm like, you know, this is crazy that I couldn't find anything about it. And I'm like, in the age of information, how can there be nothing about where these national days came from? So I started a blog, started to research where the national days came from, found a lot of old, obscure things, you know, in the Smithsonian, in old newspapers. I was just doing a ton of research every day. And during that time, the media started to follow us. Basically because we had this backstory to where the national days came from, just like yourself. You know, you talk about what the days are, and if you need to kill maybe a minute or two, you can talk about why it's National Macaroni Day and the cool things around that. So that's kind of how it got going. Never was ever intended to be the number one trending topic of all time, but that's what it's turned into.
And that is such a cool thing. And it all just kind of started from wondering why there was a National Popcorn Day. That's really cool.
That's it. And I pretty much eat popcorn every day to celebrate that. So
yeah, cool. I would too. I think that's a really neat thing. So now, of the different national days throughout the year, is there one that you look at and say, this is just the most ridiculous? Like, why is this even on the calendar? Or would it be hard to narrow it down to one when it comes to something like that?
No, I have one that I talk about all the time, and there are quite a few, actually, that would fall in that category. But to me, the one that really is one that I'd love to get rid of is National Bittersweet Chocolate-Covered Almond Day. And it's just too specific,
it
you know.
Really is.
And what's funny about it is that there isn't a chocolate-covered almond day.
Oh,
so,
really?
I just think it's hilarious. But the reason for it is back in the 1830s, the technology to make bittersweet chocolate was kind of a big deal. Congress decided that they were going to do something about it, so that's why this became a day. A lot of these national days were kind of one-off type of things, and then, of course, little old me trying to keep up with the calendar back in 2013, oh, it's Bittersweet Chocolate-Covered Almond Day, so then I write about it, and then it actually becomes a thing again, you know.
So now, have you seen some celebrations that have popped up because of the calendar that you put out each day?
Oh, yes. There are probably, I would say, easily hundreds of get-togethers and celebrations and whatever every day because of National Day. If you were to go on meetup.com, for example, and just look at people who are gathering, and a lot of times it's just, you know, like-minded individuals who want to get together because it's National Beer Day or whatever, and it's a reason for them to get together. And, of course, there's the work and the family element as well. I mean, when it's National Pizza Day, you know, there are many offices across the country, I'm sure, that are having pizza for lunch. And, of course, that evening, many families and friends gather around that. The Wall Street Journal a couple years ago actually did a story on how we impact the national economy. That's kind of how big it's become.
It's a really, really cool thing, and we share it every single day on the radio here. And I wanted to say thank you. And it was cool because you sent me an email that you had seen that we had posted it on our show notes. And that's kind of how this interview came about. So thank you for doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you. Love the fact that you share the National Days. We are really all about celebrating every day, and how the word gets out, through us or through traditional media like yourselves is fantastic.
Well, and I think for me, every day there's a reason to celebrate, and NationalDayCalendar.com gives you a really easy way to do it.
Thank you, John.
Again, Marlo is with NationalDayCalendar.com. We have a link to him in the show notes every day, but we also have a link to him today in the show notes talking more about the calendar. You can find that at JohnandHeidiShow.com.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. The new way is with a continuous glucose monitor. You simply apply a discreet, easy-to-use sensor on your body. If you test your blood sugar at least 4 times per day and inject insulin at least 3 times per day, or use an insulin pump and have private insurance or Medicare, you might be eligible for a CGM with little or no cost to you. Call now and say goodbye to finger pricks.
800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
4 out of 5 adults claim to be good spellers, and females are the most confident. 87% of women say, I'm a good speller. What do you think, Heidi?
I am a very good speller.
I know you're a good speller. Spell something for us.
You have to ask me all the time to spell things for you. There are
Spell
things,
something really good. What can you spell?
John, I'm not going to that's ridiculous.
Spell,
No.
I'm trying to think of what I can't.
Can we just move on, please?
Okay. Well, she's not really that good a speller.
Uh-huh.
No, she really is. Were you ever in a spelling bee?
No, but I should have been.
You should have been in a spelling. You could. It's never too late. We should have an adult spelling bee. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you have a credit card, our friends at BetterCreditCards.com would like to make sure it's the best credit card for you. Take a few minutes to look at your current interest rate and then see what you get for points and perks. Then go to BetterCreditCards.com to see if they can help you find a better credit card. This will literally cost you nothing, and it could help you save money by getting a better credit card. Even if you don't have a credit card right now, you can check it out too at BetterCreditCards.com. That's BetterCreditCards.com. Time now for a news headline from somewhere in this world. Dateline, North Korea. North Korean state media released photos recently of leader Kim Jong-un paying a visit to coastal areas hit by a typhoon. Now, this appearance followed allegations that Kim Jong-un has been in a coma, other allegations that he's dead.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay, yeah.
here's what people are saying. They're going, okay, are those photos current? Are those photos
Yeah, who knows
photoshopped?
from where they're from.
So I don't know.
But they've been, how many, this is what, the 4th death hoax for this guy?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
I just think it's interesting. And it is a news headline from somewhere in this world.
If you take Viagra or Cialis, call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Call 800-214-7977. 800-214-7977. 800-214-7977. Again, that's 800-214-7977.
Time now for some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. A woman in Thailand claimed that she accidentally dyed her white cat bright yellow while treating the cat with a fungal infection on its legs. She wrote on Facebook she rubbed some turmeric. Is that how you say it? T-U-R... Turmeric?
Turmeric.
Turmeric? It's T-U-R-M-E-R-I-C.
Oh.
Turmeric.
Turmeric. I've never pronounced the R.
Well, this turmeric is known for its vibrant yellow color. It's used in foods, and, believe it or not, it's a natural dye. But it did not take long for her white cat to turn yellow. Photos of the yellow cat were so popular that it actually became a viral thing where they're sharing this. Thousands of people have now seen this photo. She explained the infection itself seemed to be going away after the treatments, but now her white cat is yellow. And the yellow is now fading slowly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would assume that would fade out.
That doesn't mean it's a good idea to use on pets, by the way. They're saying, according to a chief veterinary officer, they said, yeah, don't do this. It's a bad idea. It hasn't been studied. We don't know what the long-term implications are. So
I wonder what made her think to use that anyway.
She read it on the internet.
Huh.
It's like, oh, hey, this will work. Well, yeah, it also made your cat yellow. Now you know. Today's weird news.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by InsuranceChicken.com. This overheated woman couldn't wait to get off her flight in Russia, so as soon as the plane landed, she left her seat, walked up to the exit, the emergency exit,
Right.
opened the door, and got onto the wing. Keep in mind, they're still on the runway. After cooling off, she stepped back into the Boeing 737, rejoined her family. Another
Yeah,
passenger
you're gonna be
said
arrested.
almost everyone had gotten off the plane before the woman pulled the stunt. So, I don't exactly know what that was all about. She walked almost all the way from the tail, from the emergency to the emergency exit row.
She probably got arrested for that. I can't imagine that they would just let that happen.
So, I don't know.
She was hot, apparently.
Or did she think that she was supposed to go out that door? I don't know. Somebody
No.
said that they've been blacklisted for gross violations of aviation safety rules. Thank goodness they were at least on the ground. And it's, according to this, says that a lot of the other people were already off the plane. So when she walked up, she just
They just
took
weren't
the
getting off
emergency
fast
exit.
enough,
I don't know.
apparently.
There's an exceptionally high financial penalty, according to the story.
Yeah, I would
Definitely
assume
bizarre.
so.
It is today's moment of duh. Nobody wants to buy car insurance. It's not a fun thing to think about, but it's something you need if you want to drive your car. So even if you don't want to buy insurance, you probably have to get it from someone. So why not buy it from InsuranceChicken.com? Okay, I'll admit, our website name is dumb. InsuranceChicken.com. Yeah, our marketing department is not that great. But our selection of insurance options is amazing. See if we can save you money each month on our dumb website, InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com. Time now for fake news or Florida. Heidi, tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida, or is it fake news made up to trick you and amuse me? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I am as well. Here we go. Fake news or Florida. A woman named Crystal Methvin was arrested for possession of crystal meth. Fake news or Florida?
It was Florida. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to do it because I knew you knew it.
I knew that
But
one.
sometimes I got to throw
But you
a
know what?
slow-
Sometimes I don't listen to you, so it's always a
What was
good
that?
idea to throw some of those in there.
What was that now? No, I figured I'd give you an easy one because you've kind of had a losing streak here lately.
I got it right yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't really pay attention. No, you've gotten several wrong.
I have gotten several wrong.
And when I read that one, I was like, I remember the story. She'll probably remember the story, and she did. But that has been today's fake news or Florida on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Heidi, you're going to love this story. Here's a really, really neat one headline. He prayed for help, and it arrived in the form of priests on a floating tiki bar.
Oh, that is awesome.
Albany is where we go. A man was saved from possible drowning in Lake George, by a group of Catholic priests on a floating tiki bar. Here's what happened. Jimmy McDonald, a former amateur boxer who's now a drug treatment counselor, was kayaking along the shore with his family, and things started going badly. He said, I was meditating, taking photos, and I drifted away from my family. He says, my wife and my stepkids had taken the kayaks out. I didn't think I needed the life vest, so I just kept it in the boat. As he was paddling back, because he had gotten so far away, the water got choppy. And he paddled harder, then tipped over, then lost his paddle. He said he was in about 30 feet of water. His ill-fitting life jacket was popping up over his head. He was holding onto the kayak with one hand and holding his smartphone up in the other one because he had a brand new $1,400 smartphone. He didn't want that to go in the water.
Right.
Several minutes. First of all, I got to say, if you're going to drown, throw the phone and save yourself. Just do that. But several exhausting minutes trying to right the kayak. And he said, I prayed to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for help. And it was about that time that Greg Barrett, a captain on Tiki Tours, said a lot of things aligned that day. Typically, I have a bunch of partiers that are making a lot of noise. But instead, he heard this call for help. And on the boat that day, he just happened to have a whole bunch of priests.
That is absolutely awesome.
So they were out for just a fun little day on the lake, and they're they come around the corner and save this dude.
Fantastic.
It's really cool, and there's a photo
I
on
can't
here.
think of a better way to be saved at all
Yeah.
than a group of priests on a tiki bar.
It almost sounds like a joke.
I know it's
But it's for real.
It's absolutely epic.
I've got a lot more detail here that I don't have time to read. If you want to, you can find it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.